deeply rooted in our history and our, socioeconomics, in our communities. I've done case studies in Charlotte, North Carolina, where I've looked at how the war on drugs really impacted the Black community in Charlotte and really costed a lot of money, so that community couldn't be sustained anymore. I've looked at housing inequality. I've looked at education inequality. When I went abroad to Ghana and Senegal, I looked at racism and how it's a dichotomy between like what Black means in America. And then I did my senior thesis on like resistance and neoliberalism and how just like Black liberation is hard to do in our current state, as well as also when we're trying to be within the system but not up. So it's yeah.
Now you said a whole bunch. Let's go back to the Africa piece. You're only 23 years old. How old were you when your feet touched down in the continent?
When that was my sophomore year, so I was probably like 19 when I visited Ghana, and then I was 21.
21. Like, do you appreciate
19 and 21
that though? Because that's a big deal. You know, we got people who never been.
Yeah, I truly appreciate it. I've been wanting to go back, but since it was Ghana, there's on a lot of issues and what their ideas of Blackness is. And I actually looked at like religion while I was there. It was just
Yeah, my internet is horrible. I'm in Georgia, and we're in the mountains, so either my phone service goes or the internet is so choppy. So hopefully you can hear me still. So are you in DC, or you say you're in the outskirts?
No, I'm in DC. I'm in the city, in Ward 7, Ward 8.
So I want you to see something here, and I'm hoping what's the name of the organization? Kill Mode News DC. You heard of them?
No, I haven't. Is that like keeping up with the crime rate?
Yep, that's exactly it. Yep, that's exactly who it is. On the Facebook, they have a whole list of what's happening. Yeah.
On Facebook. Okay. I follow the Instagram.
Take a peek at this. This is what I wanted us to talk about. I wanted to show you this. It's about to come up in 1 second here.
Okay.
I can't see what you see. Can you see anything other than me?
It hasn't come up yet.
Okay.
No.
All right. How much time do you have? Jade, how much time do you have?
I have about, it's just popped up. It's starting the show. I have about like 45 minutes.
Oh yeah, we'll be able to. So this is what we have been doing. I want to expand this so you can see it here. All right. Can you see that?
Yeah, it says unknown man, unknown woman, 9 children shot.
So here's the cities here. Um,
It just it.
all right. Yeah, I got the hourglass spinning, so you probably can't see anything right now.
I see part of it.
Yeah. So anyway, what we've been doing, we have 25 years of this uh, data entry of people who've been shot, killed, stabbed, and raped. This is 99% Black people, what you're looking at. And this is last weekend, we had 106 people shot, 4th of July weekend in Chicago. Just crazy numbers of people being shot. Now, of course, Chicago is a large city, but what's your take on why, like, first, that's Chicago. What's happening in DC? Is it a lot of shooting and killing? What's your view on that?
Yeah, it's been a large amount, definitely compared to the recent years. Since I think quarantine has started, there's at least been 3 deaths every day. At least. In this last 4th of July weekend, I believe we lost 3 or 4 babies, 3 or 4 little kids. And the number, like, it's just increasing. Like, I stay up to date on the violence in DC from an Instagram page that updates it. And it's just, I think I counted, it was like over 40, at least over 40 or like 50 people that were killed since March. And that's just gun violence, like nothing else but gun violence. And recently, today, I think we just found out about 3 more people that were shot and killed. And it's not just men, but it's varying between women and children as well now in DC. A lot of it is gang related. So a lot of rival shootings that's been going on, that's been taking a lot of like innocent lives. But the numbers are very high.
Dude, okay. So I got my view, but I want to hear from you. You have been to Chicago first? Can you hear me? What about now? Can you hear me now?
Yep.
Have you been to Chicago before?
No, I haven't. I have friends that live there. I haven't been though.
Are you too afraid to come to Chicago, or you're open?
I'm open to come. I haven't been.
Okay.
I just haven't been out there.
But you're not too scared though.
No.
All right. So what do you think are the top 3 reasons why DC is having the violence that it's having right now? If you had to rank it, number 1, number 2, number 3. Now I'm gonna write that down, what you tell me.
I think a lot of it is lack of resources. So a lot of the gun violence that's been recent, at least the last month or so, has been a lot of younger people killing people. And from just seeing that and analyzing that through like an academic standpoint, it's almost like a domino effect. So a lot of these young people have already lost people personally to them from gun violence. So now they're just not redoing, but they're now performing that same act on someone else to cope with it. So as far as like, I feel like therapy is something that our young people really need to be able to cope with the trauma that they're experiencing. So I think access to resources is one reason. I think another reason why it's so much violence here in DC is it just seems like always in the summertime, it's always a spike, which I think that's access to jobs, access to employment, because they're out of school. We've been out of, like, kids have been home. People have been in quarantine. So right now it's like they have nothing else to do but this. Like they're not being occupied. They have nothing to do. So I think the first one is access to resources. The second one is employment. We have nothing to do with our kids. A lot of people aren't being able to go to work. People are meant to stay home. So when you're staying home, you have nothing to do. This stuff happens, unfortunately. Another reason I think is going on is I really just think it's back to coping. Like a lot of our kids are angry. A lot of our people here are angry. And how they're dealing with that anger, how they're trying to cope with that anger is becoming very detrimental to other people's lives. So for instance, I've went through comments on Instagram where I've seen people was like, so you mean to tell me that I shouldn't, if I see this happen to somebody in my family, that I should just be not do this to somebody else? Like, no, when I see somebody else, I'm gonna do it to their whole family too. So it's almost like they're just reinscribing the same stuff that happened to them. So I think it's just coping. Like no one's actually sitting here to help people process. And because trauma is being accumulated at a very fast pace, it's like no one's like have a time to just like stop and pause. Because it was one day I'm like, okay, so this incident just happened. And then I'm like, okay, I'm gonna have time to process. And then an hour later, something else happened. And I'm like, whoa, like I just seen this and now this is happening. So when I talk to my students, and I have to check in with them more frequently now because they know a lot of the victims that are being killed and stuff, it's like they're accumulating death at a fast rate. And we're telling them, oh, we need you to like, or I'm trying to get them to like, okay, talk about it. Let's talk about it so you don't be so angry. Let's get this way. But when they don't have someone in their corner to do that, then it's like, okay, I'm gonna just do what I see everyone else in my hood doing. Like, this is how we cope with it. When you come at us, we're gonna come at you harder. So that's what I feel like it's a lot of like coping. It's no coping strategies put in place. Like I know it's a lot of groups that are doing stuff, but the main thing is like it's a lot of mental health issues going on. Like it's a lot of mental health issues. Like it's no one teaching our kids or even our citizens how to deal with trauma.
Do you think music play a role in this?
Yes and no. I think music can play a role in it. However, it's really about the environment you're in. So when you're in a certain environment and this is what you see all the time and you haven't had the opportunity to step outside of that space, outside of that neighborhood, outside of that city, you don't even think that there's life outside of that. So what you just see is violence all the time. You're going to think, oh, life is just violent. Life is just death. Life is just all this going on when you don't have access to the world outside of your immediate community.
Okay, so what about travel? You think travel could help? Is travel a solution in this issue?
I wouldn't say travel, I would say access.
Access over travel?
Access, yeah. Because right now, a lot of people don't have access to the like resources they need to better cope or better yet understand what is really going on in like their community, or better yet how what's going on in the community is actually a part of something deeper rooted in America.
What about racism? You think racism have anything to do with us killing each other?
I definitely do think racism has a lot to do with it, because in a lot of our communities, as far as where a lot of this is going on, it's a lot of lack of wealth, it's a lot of lack of ownership, it's a lot of poverty. And when you have all these different things, it just didn't come out of the blue moon, like it just didn't come out of the sky. It's there for a reason. It was strategic. It's a part of systemic racism. Like our communities that are like this, that are like really, that does not have a lot of wealth anymore, it's because of gentrification. It's because of how they want to call it now, urban renewal. They're not putting wealth back into our communities so we can stay. They're putting wealth into communities so they can push us out further. And when they push us out, they're not fixing the crime or nothing. They're just moving the crime to a different location.
Now, when you say they, who are these people so we can go get them?
By they, I mean those that have power, those that are white supremacists, those that are not in these communities with us. So those that have privilege, those that can, move how they want, those that have wealth, those that were born into wealth, those type of people, not our everyday people that are in our Black communities.
So your mayor is what's her name?
Mayor Bowser.
Yep, right. Our mayor's Lori Lightfoot in Chicago, Jerome Prince in Gary, Indiana. In Atlanta, where I'm physically at, in Georgia, it's I just forgot her name. Um, can't think of her name right now. I just drew a blank. But these are 4 Black mayors in charge of cities that the violence is off the charts in. Do they play a role in it? Is your mayor doing all that she can to make DC safer?
I think she's doing stuff, but she's not doing enough.
What can she do? What can these 4 mayors do though? What else can they do?
That's honestly like, that's the thing. Like, we feel like they can't do enough. We also don't have those solutions ourselves sometimes. But I know, as far as like, I know there's a bigger racial war going on, but sometimes we need to fix what's in-house first. Like, we're trying to make these bigger political statements about what's going on nationwide, but it's like, okay, we get Black Lives Matter, but can we get our own people to understand that our lives matter to each other? Like, can we focus on what's going on in our city, in the communities that's not by the White House? And as far as that, it's like, I don't see the mayor coming into, these communities where this is happening. I don't see the mayor going to these families and like, let's reach out, let's give them some support. Let's make sure they have, resources to deal with trauma. Let's make sure that we're caring about those that are impacted. And that's what I'm saying, as far as like, maybe that's just not enough. We need to see her like step into our communities with us to actually see that this is what we're living in daily. Like, you're saying it from a different standpoint, but you're not in our communities. You're not sleeping at night when you're hearing gunshots to go to sleep. You're not in your house at night wondering if a gunshot's going to fly through your window. You're not in a house or in a community where, you step outside that, okay, gunshots might be starting to fly. Like, that's not her worry. But she's our mayor. So it's like, can you at least come on this side of the river to see what's going on over here? And not just talk about it, but like, come see it for yourself. That's what I mean as far as enough, because sometimes it's not even about getting to an immediate solution. It's just about knowing that we have your full-on support and that you're actually listening to your citizens, the people that live here, the communities that live here.
I think Kilmore is about to get on with us. We'll see if he can get on. So let me ask you this though, because like you said, the age, you got 14-year-olds, 7-year-olds getting killed. They're getting younger and younger that's getting killed. So do you think a job is really gonna, like, if my family shot your family and I get hired at a job, is retaliation coming? Like, is the job gonna make them forget about what my family did to your family? Like, you know what I mean? Like, is the job gonna help with the damage that you did to your zip code or your community?
I don't think it's about the job. I think it's literally like, we need trauma informed like therapists. We need people that's helping us to deal with trauma. It's not like, okay, employment is important, but okay, we can go to work, but if we still carrying the same trauma, what is the job really going to do? Like, okay, we can move outside of our
community. You said number 2. Now I wrote down, I was going what you said.
I do think that jobs are important because right now, what are our kids doing? Right. It's the summertime, and because COVID-19 is going on, we have nothing to do with our kids. And that's like, that's the unfortunate truth, that because like we have to social distance and stuff, we have nothing to do with our younger kids. So they're just outside getting into God knows what. But as far as like when they have stuff to do, when they're occupied, like during the school year, even when they're occupied from 9 to 5 or 7 a.m. to 4 p.m., they're doing something. Like they don't have time to just be outside and just getting into stuff or starting drama or starting these different beefs. That's what I mean by a job or even like a summer camp or some type of enrichment activity, so that kids are busy or kids are being, stimulated in other ways, or learning strategies about how to, cope, or learning strategies about life and being a better person. They have nothing right now to do. And that's like, I can say that for my own students. They have nothing to do at home. They call me and like, I'm bored. I've been outside all day. Like, they have nothing to do. And I don't know what to that right now is, because we're in quarantine. Well, some of us are.
Well, do you attribute some of this to black mothers coddling their black male sons? Do they bear any role in this?
As far as, can you elaborate?
So I always say the shooters are not coming from Mars. The shooters are in our zip codes. They in our community. They're laying their head somewhere. They're resting somewhere. Someone is allowing them safe haven, and they probably not paying the mortgage or rent. So the question is, where are these shooters? Who's harboring these shooters? And I, I'm asking you. I'm not saying this is the fact. Is it our women that's allowing, i.e., the boyfriends or sons, to be at home knowing that they out there creating havoc?
Um, I'm not quite sure about that. Just for the fact that for some, that's a really, I think that question is more complex than just a straightforward yes or no.
Uh-huh.
Um, because I wouldn't even just say mothers, because it's not just women that's harboring people in their houses, or better yet, some of these kids aren't taking the same stuff back home. So they're probably going somewhere else, or people are going somewhere else to have this stuff happen. So I wouldn't even say it's the parents, because sometimes some parents don't know until like they come home and they're like, oh, they find out. But I can't honestly say that all parents know that this is what their kids are doing. Like that's not, I don't think that's my place to say that's an assumption I can make, because I don't think that is true for a lot of, especially like a lot of the gang violence. I don't think that it's even the parents having knowledge that, oh, my kid's in this or that. Like as far as people that rep hoods, that's a normal thing. Honestly, that's a normal thing. And like I see it all the time on social media, oh, they rep their hood, but that doesn't necessarily mean they're a part of a gang. So as far as information being accessed to parents, I'm not sure if I can say that it's the mother's fault if their child's in the house and their child has done something wrong. It's like, how would that mother sometimes know if that child's not coming home after that incident but going to someone else's place? Right. Or better yet, someone that's also in that type of activity.
So let me add this twist to you. What if your son is an aspiring rapper and he's rapping about murdering his opposition? What do you think about that? Is that a part of our challenge in making DC safer?
I think that is a challenge, but I also think that's because of the environment. Mm-hmm. So if I had a son and he's rapping about that, then that means something in his environment is telling him that's what he should be rapping about. Or better yet, that's what he's seeing in his environment, and that's what he's only aspiring to be or being able to talk about. Okay. So as far as like a lot of my students, when they talk about it, I always ask, how do you know firsthand? How do you know, like, why do you want to do that? Have you ever been in that situation? And then when you get deeper to it, it's like they're just saying what they've seen. Exactly. Not better yet that what they've done, but it's just what they see. Right. So they're just speaking what they see. Right. And I think like music has its role in it, but it's also like music is just a tool to talk about an experience. It's just a tool to talk about what you've seen, your environment. And that's like known in a lot of hip hop. Like a lot of artists have used music as a tool to release their emotions, to vent about what their daily experience is.
So and I don't want to stay too far on this, but there's a song, we go door to door in some of the most dangerous neighborhoods all over. And when the song came out, if I don't trust you, I'm gonna shoot you. Never have I had any trepidation with engaging guys anywhere. But when that song came out and guys started internalizing that, feeling it, rapping it, and really seeing it, I've had situations where when I walked into a crowd of guys, been doing it for 20 years, that now is met with a little bit more veracity, like, what's up, and you hear that in the background playing, or they singing and rapping about that. Hey man, I don't know you, I don't trust you. So I know firsthand my experience, and this happened to me in Miami, happened to me on the southeast side of DC, that the music got inside the head and emboldened, almost to, you can look at Trump with the supremacists, giving them more cover and emboldening them to feel, they can vocalize what they're hearing from the top. So do you give any credence to the fact that there's songs that's telling them to be savage? So when you shoot a 1-year-old, that's savage type behavior. What did that 1-year-old do? So I do think the music plays a part when people are hurting, that now they're getting fed some information that might encourage them that they wouldn't have been encouraged beforehand, you know?
Yeah, I definitely believe that music, especially for our younger generation, it's like they're also learning, they're also developing, they haven't yet developed their own ideas, so they're internalizing what they hear. So when they're internalizing what they hear, especially with stuff they haven't actually learned skills, like let me cope or create my own type of idea, my own ideology, my own thinking around it, it's very easy to internalize music and say, this is how I'm about to act because this music is really it's feeding into my emotions. It's fueling my emotions. It's fueling how I'm feeling right now. And this is what I'm gonna go off of. So I do think that in that sense, music definitely plays a part because it's easy to internalize music. Like a lot of people listen to music when they're feeling a certain way because it's fueling how they feel.
Right.
So in that sense, when they're listening to music that is promoting violence or promoting beef or fighting and stuff, it's easy to be like, oh, I'm about to be just like this song, or this song is an embodiment of how I'm feeling.
Yeah. So I want to talk about solutions. Well, let me say this first. I believe that all of us, if you black in the US, if you black here, um, we have a contaminated box in us. I call it CB, contaminated box. And it's made up of hurt, abuse, and bitterness. This is my thought. Hurt, abuse, and bitterness. And just like anything that's contaminated, it depends on how much is contaminated. If you under 50%, that's better than being over 50% of your contaminated box. And it's easy for hurt people to hurt other people. I do think travel, because I'm a Navy guy, so I grew up in. You saw the movie Candyman? Yeah, you're probably too young. Yeah. So, but Candyman was filmed in Cabrini Green, arguably one of the worst housing projects in the U.S. at a certain time. But it was the Navy that let me get away from the projects to see the world. And I believe that if it wasn't for that, I wouldn't be alive to talk to you now. So I do think travel is paramount, but it's not just travel, it's travel and coaching, travel and partnership with a person that's where you want to be. So if you love working with wood, when you travel, then you get connected with a retired carpenter. You know what I mean? So that's what the Navy showed me, because everyone on that ship had a job. Everyone on the ship had a job, and the job had someone near retirement, in their prime, and someone like me fresh out of boot camp. So you knew what the succession plan was going to be 3 years from now, 5 years from now. And so that's what we do, is we believe, and you just told me you're a teacher. So do you know Miss Carter, who's a 60-year retired teacher? How can Miss Carter add value to you as a teacher now? What can she give and support? And then what about that 12-year-old that want to become a teacher? So that's the link, retirees, adults, and youth in that teaching arena. And I believe, and that's what I'm loving talking to you. We want to help partner and work with DC children in all of these career categories. Which children love carpentry? Which children love nursing? Which children love technology? Which children love animals? And then link them with the retirees and the adults for every field. And then let's travel. Let's get DC to Chicago, Chicago to DC. What do you think about that?
I think that is so. I really think that is a solution because it's not just bridging, generations, but it's also bridging alongside the community too. Because in our community, we do have a lot of skilled people in different areas, which is something I've been trying to promote with my school is let's see what we have in our immediate community that can teach our kids or become mentors for our kids. So they can see at their own disposal, at their own like arm's reach, oh, wait, I didn't even know I had a lawyer that lived in my neighborhood. I didn't know that I had a business owner in my neighborhood. And it's stuff like that so kids can see like in their everyday, like I'm actually around successful people. I'm actually around people that may live in the same neighborhood, but they're doing some great work. And I think that's right there is like, that is a solution to our problems because, well, not all our problems, but it's a start because when our kids don't even know what's around them, or better yet, knowing that look, you have some great things around you. We just got to tap into it.
Yeah.
We just got to figure out, like, what is the skills you have and how can we translate those skills into something that can make you money, something that can become a career, something that can help, you know, build you as a better person in your later life. Because sometimes college isn't for everybody. Sometimes you might have to go into vocational skills, and that is okay. But if you don't know that, okay, I don't have anyone around me that's went that track, or better yet, I don't know how to ask people around me that's been that track to be a mentor for me. So as far as like a mentor program or like a bridging program where it's able to connect kids so they can see, oh, this is the track that I can go on down this path, and like see it, and not as an abstract way, but see it very concretely. That's important too. So like
now, and you just don't know. I think this is amazing. This is gonna be beautiful. So here's one of the secrets I think that is gonna help across the board. We took the calendar, the 30-day calendar, and we took 20 days, 20 out of the 31 days. So it's 11 days we don't care about, 20 days. And we gave every 20 career fields 1 day forever. So teachers is the second Tuesday of every month. Second Tuesday. Lawyers is the fourth Tuesday of every month. The judges are the third Sunday of every month. So the point is, now that I've met you, I know the second Saturday is Teachers Day. So next month on the second Saturday, I'm gonna try and get your number and say, hey, here's the Chicago teachers, here's the Atlanta teachers. Can you guys just say hi to each other? We'll later talk about how we get together and bring children. Fourth Tuesday, let's do a mock trial on Zoom with the DC children that want to be a lawyer, with the Chicago children that want to be a lawyer. Let's do a competition, spelling bee competition, where, you know what I mean, the fifth graders in Chicago, fifth graders in DC. But this stimuli can, and because the dates keep repeating, look at what we can do. We know we got 30 days to prepare for the next one. It can excite DC, it can excite Atlanta, Chicago, Gary. I'm on cloud nine with the potential that we'll be able to know what's coming, have predictability, and that allows you to build up your list of teachers, list of carpenters, list of children that want to be all of those, and let's rock and roll. What do you think?
I think that's a great idea. Because what a lot of our like kids need, and not just high schoolers, but middle schoolers and elementary schoolers, they need that type of career day where they're like able to see that, and they don't really have that in schools anymore, where people come in and talk about their career path, or like just talk to them about, this is what I do for a living. This is how, you know, this is my passion, how I turn my passion into a paycheck, how I turn my passion into a career. And a lot of our kids actually ask, like, I want to do this and that. And I'm like, okay, well, I know people that's like that. I can put you in contact with someone in that nature. So like just from hearing this, and then my kids have been telling me, I think it's a super good idea.
I want you to see something here, and it's not my Facebook here. Are you on Facebook?
I was on it, but I'm not anymore. The screen hasn't popped up either for this.
Oh, okay, good. Because this is kindergartner through 12th grader. It's a list. Now, are you you're an 8th grade teacher? Is that what I saw?
So I just went from 7th to 8th grade.
Oh, so you haven't done it yet?
Yeah, I'm moving. I'm rolling up with my students.
Now you're young, so do they challenge you because you're young? Like, what can you teach me?
No, it's just, I think it's because when I go in, I'm very vulnerable and transparent with my students. So I make sure that they know that, just like right now I'm a teacher, I'm saying, but y'all also are my teachers. So I'm learning from you just like how you're learning from me. And it's actually have been a very great experience, because I come in class and learn something every day, and they're learning something, and I'm always like shifting my pedagogy in the classroom.
Okay, I want you to give me your thoughts on this here. I have it almost ready for you to look at here. And this here is, I believe, again, this is going to help all of us in every city, every neighborhood, because it's documenting the retirees for like 60 different career fields, and it's assigning kindergartners through 12th graders. And we got flexibility, so we can move some stuff around for DC if they don't like it. But I do think it at least gives us a stage that we can agree on how to move forward together. Let's see, why is it taking so long to open up here? Okay. Okay, shouldn't be taking this long. Yeah, I thought the other guy was gonna get on, but obviously not this month. It like never takes this long. Sorry about that. So what about Georgia? You got people here in Georgia?
I know I have friends that also live in Georgia.
Do you visit or no?
I'm gonna be visiting next month. I've visited a while. I haven't been in a while since quarantine, of course.
Right. Yeah, like I said, I think that's critical, the travel piece. Okay, here it is finally. All right. Can you see that?
It hasn't come up on my screen. Now it's up there, 51st and Prairie.
Yeah. So let's look at this here. So kindergartners right here, these professions, we're asking them to be committed to these kindergartners. Is it big enough for you to see? Okay. So all veterinarians, painters, any entertainers, and daycare owners, if they financially commit to kindergartners, spelling words for kindergartners, and then if you are a retired veterinarian, that's right here. If you're an adult veterinarian, that's right here. If you're a child that want to become a veterinarian, that goes here. And this is this is a block. So on this block, we want to fill this out. How many veterinarians that's retired on 51st and Prairie block? So that way we'll know when we meet that retired veterinarian, we want them to commit this year to support a parent of a kindergartner. What do you think?
I think that's a good idea.
Now you got 8th graders. Here you go. You see yours over there?
Yes.
So this is how we're like literally trying to get formatted. So when your children come to Chicago and they're a 9th grader, we already know they go meet an accountant in 9th grade. I mean, in Chicago, a chef. And then they know next year they got a new set of professions. So that way, if they stay with it, they're going to be able to know what professions they want to stay away from, which professions they might want to pursue. But yeah, this is what we've been pushing and trying to get buy-in from.
Yeah, I think this is a great idea, especially that it changes career paths in each grade. So they're getting a variety of experience so they can see, oh, I like this more than this. So it gives them options.
So I just need your email so I can rock and roll with you. And like I say, you being there in DC, that's why I asked you if you was in DC, because some people on the outskirts, but when you in the heart of it, much love to you. Much love to you. So that's it. I'm excited about just the fact that you got on. That took courage. So thank you for that.
No problem.
Anything for me?
No, I'm just super excited about this. This is great. I'm glad someone is actually addressing some of the issues that's going on and trying to find a solution.
I started November 20th, 1994. That's I know when you said you was 23, I said, wow. So this is 26 years, this November 20th. And but you can see it's a lot of attention to detail, right? You can see that. So this took a while. This wasn't no overnight thing here. So I think it's ready, and the funding. Let's talk about the funding, just so you know. How much you think we cost a year? Like, what do you think our budget is a year?
I'm not even sure.
I just want to hear your mind. Like what? Just ballpark.
As far as supporting families, because that can be costly.
Just how much you think last year?
Last year is your budget?
Now, how much you think we spent on running this type of process in a year? Last year, for instance.
Probably between 10 or 20,000, maybe.
Mm-hmm. Altogether, it was $6,135.14.
Wow.
So but here's the key though. It's ready to be a $12 million a year structure. It's ready for that, and that's why I'm excited meeting you, because the sad thing is people, and this goes to biblical too. People don't value you in your own neck of the woods all the time. Sometimes you gotta leave outside your neighborhood for people to honor and give you what respect or whatnot. And that goes back, if you believe the Bible, Jesus didn't get love in his own hometown, so it kind of ties into that. So when they see DC and Chicago working together, it makes the people say, man, maybe I should pay attention to what this man been saying forever, because Jade is listening to what he's talking about. So that's why I believe we're going to be able to really get the DC children in Chicago and vice versa. So that budget didn't include no travel. The year before that, we had more. We had a 16-year-old who came from Atlanta and stayed with a family with an 18-year-old for 3 months during the summer. That exchange. And while they was there, she wanted to be a lawyer, so we got her linked with DePaul University lawyers. So she got a real experience while she was there, and that's what we want to see happen in all the cities, is this exchange, and trust is number one. So that's what it takes time to build that.
Definitely does.
All right, so yeah, text me your email, and if you're on Facebook, I can share this with you, or I don't know if it goes to Instagram or whatnot, but we've been live and people heard you speak. Any closing remarks to anyone?
Just stay in prayer and keep making sure that we are involved and making sure we're taking care of our own villages.
Again, thank you very much, and I look forward to getting that email so we can connect, and I text you my phone number as well, so I can text you. All right, thanks a lot, Jade.
No problem. Thank you for having me.